So question number 4, Stacy will be first here. Remind everybody, trying to 60-second answers. I know those are not easy sometimes, but try to get as close to 60 seconds with these answers as you can. Question number 4, Governor Kemp has outlined a process to ease some of the shelter-in-place restrictions. President Trump has expressed his strong disagreement with the plan. Which one do you agree with? And what would be your plan for moving forward from the current social distancing requirements between now and when a widespread treatment or vaccine is available for COVID-19?
Okay, there was a lot in there. I'll try to get to it. Well, first of all, I think Governor Kemp has a very, very difficult situation. I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to balance the need to curb the pandemic, which is a serious concern, and people's health and lives are at stake. So we certainly need to do that. But he's also trying to balance a very real situation where people are struggling to put food on their table. And I know I've talked to a lot of folks around here that they are really beginning to get to a crisis in not being able to put food on the table. A lot of folks live paycheck to paycheck, and if they don't work, they don't eat. So that's a very real situation. As far as, I think you asked which one was right, Trump or Kemp. You know, I understand President Trump wants to make sure that we get a little bit further along before we start easing up some of those restrictions. Governor Kemp, I believe, I mean, I can't speak for him, based on his order, is trying to get folks back to work quicker. If you're asking what I would have done, I would have probably waited a little bit later till April 30th and then started opening things up a little bit. People need to get back to work, but we also need to be cognizant about the health issues. So there are businesses that can certainly start opening up right away. It's a very tough balance. Tim, I'm not sure if I maybe fully understand your question or not.
Yeah, I think you got it. Good job, Stacy. Tricia is up next. Thank you.
Well, it's an impossible situation. As a small business owner, as I mentioned before, my revenue has been completely depleted. My friends, my family members who are also small business owners are also facing extreme adversity, and I totally understand that. I think that Governor Kemp is faced with an impossible situation with an impossible solution, and quite frankly, it wouldn't matter what decision he made, he would face criticism from someone. This is what I do know. I do know that we all have a brain. We all have the ability to understand and comprehend what's best for us. I like the fact that local decisions are being made by local people. I like that. I don't like the government telling me what to do, when to do it. And so I think that we as the individual and as the people have the opportunity to know what is the safest for us. We have the ability to choose whether or not we stay at home or we go get our hair done or our nails done or whatever it is. But I totally understand the concept of needing Georgia to go back to work. We are faced with a major economic crisis here in the state. And I understand that it's a multifaceted, multi-level issue that is well beyond a 60-second response. But ultimately, I just want to say that we as the individuals are responsible for ourselves. Make that decision based upon your health and where you are in your risk factors in life.
Thank you, Tricia. Lee Moore is next.
Well, we all know that this has been a very, very difficult time for our state and our fellow citizens. You know, as a former mayor, I know our elected officials, and Stacy, you understand this, and Dan does too. You know, they're making the best decisions they can with all the information that's being presented to them. Georgians are anxious, I understand that, and ready to get back to normal. Governor Kemp has laid out a plan that he feels will provide the pathway to begin opening Georgia back up. This is a delicate situation, one that needs to be balanced between protecting the health and safety of Georgians and allowing businesses to open. A little bit of the last question can be reverted back into this, is if we're prepared and we're ready for this, ready for the openings, and we have the testing available and the PPEs available, that's implementing strict guidelines that mitigate the potential resurgence of this COVID-19, protect the most vulnerable, and continue to do the hygiene practices for Georgians, and at the workplace, it's necessary. In my opinion, the following in the phases approach laid out by both Governor Kemp and President Trump will help reopen Georgia's economy and continue to protect Georgians. Regardless, everyone should use common sense, follow strict social distancing procedures, and continue to adhere to the guidelines established by the health officials.
Thank you, Lee. Bo Hatchett is next.
This is a question that I've been asked several times over the past few weeks. And, I've heard both sides of the coin for President Trump and for President Kemp. I think President Trump had some wisdom in shutting down the border when he did. I think that helped save a tremendous number of lives. And I think Governor Kemp did the right thing of shutting Georgia down when he did. As far as opening Georgia back up and the disagreements there, I'm not in the room with Governor Kemp, and I'm not in the room with President Trump. I know they have experts surrounding them and they have the numbers. And I just pray that, I think everyone needs to pray for the wisdom for Governor Kemp. And we've got to protect the most vulnerable citizens in our district, which are the elderly, which are the newborns. Like I have a newborn baby as well, and those that are immunocompromised. And I think, we just got to pray for wisdom and practice common sense and moving forward.
Thank you, Bo. Dan Gassaway is next.
Well, I think that Governor Kemp is doing the right thing for Georgia because he has experts here in Georgia advising him. I believe that it's a very difficult thing, as everyone said. I think the reality is the financial reality is not something anybody wants to talk about yet. But I think if we did talk about it a little bit, it would really get people's attention. I believe we're looking at probably having 160-day school years for the next 5 years in our public school system. That's the kind of economic collapse we've already occurred. And every day this shutdown continues, further that collapse. And somebody said early on, more people are going to be bankrupted by this than are going to be killed. And it's just a tough situation and there's no good choices. But opening up, now that we all realize how serious this is, and I think that's what the last 30 days have done, is let Georgians know this is serious business. You go out now and people are wearing masks. It's gotten everybody's attention. But we've got to go forward from here, or otherwise we're not going to have a state economy to come back to. And that's why I applaud what Governor Kemp is doing.
Thank you, Dan. Andy Garrison wraps up question number 4.
Very good. This is a question that has been posed to me several times. Our president is looking at this overall picture of our country, and he's trying to protect that. And of course, our governor is looking at not only that, but he's looking at the state of Georgia, and he's trying to take care of the state of Georgia. Both those gentlemen have had experts. They've had the medical field, they've had the business field, they've had economists give them the research, to make these decisions. I don't have those, but I will say that I knew that Georgians need to get back to work. We need to get back to a somewhat normal life. I know it's going to be the new normal from now on. But having said that, I applaud Governor Kemp and what he's done. I wish it would have been a little bit later, but that's not my call. He has the facts, I don't. But I will agree that we are responsible for ourselves. If I don't feel like it's that time to get out and start mingling again, well, then I won't. This is not a forced compliance that we need to get out and start going back to these businesses again. We need to use common sense, and we need to take care of our own families first. That's first.
Thank you, Andy. That concludes question number 4.